Hey everyone, Peter Kozodoy here, your favorite mentor in the tribe. Ooh, I probably shouldn't have said that. Let's hope the other mentors aren't watching. Hope you guys are having a great couple weeks. I just got back from China last week, and the trees up here in the Northeast have bloomed and absolutely kicked me in the face with allergies. So if it sounds like I have a snorkel on, I assure you that I do not, and that it's just allergies attacking me from every orifice in my body. Okay. That's not too much information. I'm going to get to a couple questions here. If anyone has questions, by all means, pop them in. This is my time I've carved out, so I've got a couple minutes here. Sorry I'm late. I just got caught up with work. Turns out that if you want to get busy in your job, the best thing to do is to plan a trip, because once you start to go away, then everyone comes out of the woodwork and wants your attention. So that's just how life is. All right, let's start with Michelle. Michelle says she's looking for new ideas to spark conversations with brides on Facebook. The end goal is to get them to book an appointment. Do you have any suggestions? So, my first inkling, Michelle, is this may not be the right question. I mean, so you spark a conversation with them, and then what? I mean, I'd really want to get into what is your funnel from start to finish. And Michelle, I think you were in our masterclass, so you remember that know, like, trust, try, buy funnel. How are they getting to know you in the first place, and what kind of impression are you making on them? And then how are you moving them to trust? And so I imagine the reason why you're asking about sparking conversations is that you want to get them to appreciate your information, see you as an expert, start to build trust. Excuse me. But the way you want to do that is through giving them really the best content, so that when they're searching for that content or browsing through other things going on in their Facebook feed, that they start to see a really well written blog with a great title, and that title should match a question that's going on in their minds. So if they're asking themselves, how do I make sure my dress is super white on my wedding day? Great, there's a blog title. All right, and if they see that, they might say oh, that's actually a good call. How do I make sure my dress is super white on my wedding day? And they might be inclined to click on that and learn about what your tips and tricks would be for that. So you want to spark conversations by first giving them value, and then slowly weaving yourself in. Now, there are a couple things I would... Oh, that's my stupid dog. There's a couple things I would add on to that, which are you on Pinterest? Because any of you who have gotten married or are getting married know that Pinterest is the place to be when you're getting married, because you want to pin all those cool things. So if you can build into Pinterest platform, I highly recommend it. And then what are the other, you want to have a conversation with them and get them to book an appointment. Well, there need to be a lot of steps in between there. So what are those steps? And how many brides have you consulted in designing those steps and really understanding what some of their pain points are, and some of their trials and challenges are? Because if you can't get inside their head, you're going to get interrupted in one of those steps. Make sense? Okay. Let's move on to Lisa. Lisa asks, are there any new trends in email marketing? We don't get a good success rate with MailChimp newsletters or reach outs, maybe due to spam or junk. There's a lot I can say about email marketing. Sorry, my dog's... Hold on 1 minute. Brady, shut up. No, shut up. Sorry about that. Anyway, there's a whole spectrum of issues going on in email marketing. So on one hand, you have GDPR and everything that's going around with double opt-ins. If you don't know what that is, then look it up. That's a big deal in the EU. In Canada, you cannot just send someone an email. They have to have double opted in to what you're doing, very different than the States. So there are some technical issues that are going on, and GDPR is coming in the States. However, there's a lot you can do besides requiring a double opt-in that will increase your open rates. Before I go into that, open rates across the board are declining. Everyone now is hopping on the bandwagon with Facebook Messenger because the open rates are higher. Of course, they're higher because no one's using Facebook Messenger. Also, people are using text messaging a lot more than email now to get across whatever information they're trying to do. So you could and probably should use all of those tools. I'm a little bit old-fashioned. I actually like email, but I live in my email inbox. That's my to-do list. It's where I keep all my stuff organized. So it's not so much of a problem for me. But particularly for younger people, I would say under the age of 22, text is probably your best bet because they're not on Facebook. So there's the messenger issue. But anyway, that's a decision you're going to have to make based on the demographics of the people you're trying to reach. But back to email, you can really increase your success rates by doing a couple different things. So one is give them indispensable content. Like when an email from you arrives in their inbox, they need to say to themselves, "Oh, it's always interesting to read this, so I should read this." There are very few people that fit that bill for me, but for the few who do, when they send me an email, I'm like, all right, maybe I'll save it and get to it later. But I always know I learned something and it's interesting to read, so I'll keep it around and I'll read it. And so that's a habit I've gotten into. Other things you want to make sure you do is make sure that your emails have a particular cadence and that they're steady, so that your email arrives to them every Tuesday at 5 o'clock or every other Monday at 9 p.m. Something that's consistent, because even if you have one loyal reader, that loyal reader will actually get used to your schedule, and over time you'll get one becomes two becomes four. You'll build up a readership over time that care. The last thing you want to do is send something, sporadically or once a month. It's not enough. You're better off annoying people and having them opt out than not being on a consistent rhythm. And then there are a variety of other things you can do to make them more readable. For instance, get really good at making headlines. I was very lucky. I got trained by Inc. magazine and Forbes magazine to write headlines. There is an art and a science to it. My recommendation is I think Inc. does a particularly good job of this. Go to Inc., go to my own column, and just take a look at all of the subject lines I've written, and you'll start to pick out there are certain things that work better than others, like curiosity. You want to, it has to be kind of an odd, intriguing headline. You have to create intrigue to make people want to click on it. It should be specific. It should be anchored to something big that everyone knows about, but also tight enough to be, relevant to that niche. There are a variety of things, these are rules I now have ingrained in me, but you'll want to take a look at how certain subject lines are structured and see if you can copy those. Then in your body, don't write anything lengthy. No, so I actually, again, Inc. and Forbes trained me to write paragraphs of 3 sentences or less. Paragraphs of 3 sentences or less. Because there's a psychology such that when you chop up paragraphs, the reader feels like they're reading more and more and they're making progress, and that makes them feel good. So as this article is going, they're like, oh, I'm really zipping through this article and checking, oh yeah, I read that. It's a weird thing, but it's quite scientific in the way that people move through not just reading, but any task. Think of if you take a big task you need to do, break it up into little small chunks, and then you see, oh, all these things are getting checked off. It makes you feel like you're making progress, and so it encourages you to keep going. Kind of a classic psychological thing. So test out some of those. Hopefully that works. All right. If any of you, what's up, Robin, Emily? Thanks for joining. If any of you have questions, by all means, pop them in. Otherwise, I'm just going to ramble on as usual. Brady, really, buddy? All right. Okay, last question. And is it Dorlease? You have to, at some point in time, you have to message me privately and say, Peter, you've been messing up my name for the past month, so here's the correct pronunciation. So I'm sorry. I'm going to go with Dorlease because it sounds kind of cool, but I'm sure that's not right. Okay. My question has to do with branding and selling to different target markets. Is it a good idea if you already have a business name to have another brand specialized in luxury? I've been offered to work together with a Spanish wedding planner focusing on high-end international clients. She has her business, I have my business. We're thinking about working together. I'd like to know how you would do it. Why are you so worried about brand? That's kind of what I want to know. Like, does it matter? How would I do it? What I would probably do is Okay, so when it comes to brand in general, people, I want you to think story first, then brand. Okay? What's the story here? Well, the story is that this incredible wedding planner named Doralice, and I'm still pronouncing that wrong, and this other girl that you're talking about have come together to form this super talented team. All right, and this super talented team is going to handle exclusive luxury weddings that cost $75,000 or more. And if you're not going to pay us that, don't even talk to us, because us united is worth so much more. And here's why. Boom, boom, boom. Here are all the features and benefits that we offer that no single wedding planner can match. That's the story. And so I would perhaps think about doing a luxury brand name and then have this sort of like subheading, a collaboration between Doralice and, you know, whatever this other girl's name is, and tell the story. If you tell the story correctly about this, you know, coming together and uniting forces and super premium, and here's these two awesome experiences, and here's why it's awesome, then the name's going to be far less important. And if you think about it, this is really what Sean is doing in his tribe with all of us mentors, right? It's like if any of you were Captain Planet fans, I certainly was, right? You put all the rings together and the unites and all that, and now you know how much of a geek I am. And the power together is greater, okay? And when you bring, oh, Sean, Inc. 5000 Entrepreneur, EO member, Inc. 5000 Entrepreneur, EO member, billionaires, Ivy League MBAs, like, it's like all of it together is like, wow, these people really know what they're talking about. It's the same effect, okay? I mean, it's true that everyone coming together is greater. We all know that, you know, this phrase about the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, and that's the story you want to tell that leads to this luxury brand. And it would also make sense that if you put two incredible talents together, that it's going to cost not double, but probably triple, because there's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot of things that come out of a partnership that you would never get with just a single person. Wedding planner, consultant, coach, whatever. We're kind of ingrained as a species to think that teams give us better outcomes than single people. It's not always true, but it's mostly true, and that's a story you can tell. Make sense? Hopefully. Okay. I don't have any other questions. If I did, I would certainly take them. I'm going to go call my dog in and just sit on, just play the, I'm not going to shut the camera down here. Come back, and if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Hey, Brady, you dumb bunny, come on in. Come on, let's go. I'm on a live video, dude. Let's go, come on. Good boy. All right. Anyone else? Any other takers? I'm going to let them in. Any other takers? I'm waiting. Questions, people. Come on in, buddy. Can you not do that? Well, I'm on a live video. Okay. All right, I got nothing else. For those of you who are in the masterclass and submitting your plans, I'm having a blast reading them. We will pick finalists by this Friday. I'm not surprised, but super impressed by everyone's creativity and thought that went into those, and some great writing. So thank you for submitting. Really good stuff. Really good stuff. And I'm going to be really excited to announce the finalists on Friday. So without further ado, if you have other questions during the week, as always, just write me in. And occasionally I try to go in and see, if people have pinged me what they say. So in the meantime, have a great week all. Have a great weekend. And I will see you next Wednesday. Take care.